Hey Chicago, it's Dawn Millhouse from the Book of Dawn. There's a lot of fake news about the COVID vaccine, just false information. So our station has joined the Protect Chicago team to help share the truth about the vaccine and dispel the rumors. I hear all the time, I've already had COVID. I don't need the vaccine. You're wrong. Get the facts by visiting the What's in It for the Black People Media page on Facebook and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax. That's COVIDVAX. We're in this together, Chicago.
Hey Chicago, you know we've all been impacted by COVID, especially in our communities. Help protect Chicago. We need everyone to stay safe and get the facts about the COVID-19 vaccine. Visit the What's in It for the Black People Media Facebook page and www.chicago.gov/COVIDVax for the facts.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Keep calling it. Give you some love, you want all of it. I'm out here working, nigga, get a grip. I'm just trying to touch a mill if you just wanna coexist. I say you clingy and you contradict. Give you my heart, you think it's counterfeit. Give you my word and you won't trust in it. What's the point of loving me if you don't know what trust is? I need the is you give now. Please don't back down on me. I know you've got the attention I need. Put your pride aside for me. Oh, 'cause I need that ease. Put your pride aside for me. That ease. While I'm not trying to get that ease. Know that I need that ease. Yeah. Put your pride aside for me, baby. You're insecure, it's driving me crazy. I'm trying to get it and you keep on saying you need all my love, it's never enough. Yeah. I put up with you for too long, now I'm over it. You want affection, I need money, I'ma call it quits. That is, that is, that is. Put your pride aside for me. That is. While I'm trying to get it, that is. Need it. That is. Put your pride aside for me. Put it aside, put it aside, put it aside, put it aside, put it aside. Put your pride aside, put it aside. On me. Put your pride aside for me.
Hey everybody, welcome to Inhale, Exhale.
Hello.
And we are new in studio. It's our inauguration day.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
so I have on
Welcoming
pearls.
us.
So I have on pearls.
Okay.
I just want y'all to know that's why I'm wearing pearls tonight.
Why you didn't share the pearl memo with me? I would have put on some pearls.
I actually realized I still had on pearl earrings, and I was like, I should probably put on some pearls to match it.
okay.
That's actually what happened, but that's okay. That's okay because we had a really exciting week.
Yes. we did.
And it was exciting for everyone in the country and exciting for us too because we are now here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Yes.
And we are so excited. So thank you for joining us tonight. So okay, we're going to tell you guys what Inhale Exhale is, right? Because we have a new audience and some of you guys have been rocking with us for weeks now, but some people haven't, right, Danni? So we need to let them know who we are, what we're doing, and what we're going to do tonight, because tonight is a really, really good show.
Yes.
I'm excited.
We're excited.
Okay, so I am Dr. Audrey Tanksley. I am an internal medicine physician, integrative physician, so that means I do a little bit of traditional medicine as well as non-traditional medicine. Board certified in both, so this is real information, but not your physician, just here to give you some good education, right? Yes. Okay. Yes. And Danni, why don't you introduce folks who you are?
Yes, so I'm Danielle. I go by Danny Time. I am an event host and planner. I do dance classes and events of all sorts, but my main focus is mental health for us. So I do have my master's in social work and clinical social work. And so I'm just here with my partner, Audrey, looking to give you guys, like she said, free game. Okay, here I go. Y'all can hear me? Bear with me. This is the new girl on the block. No. But, yeah, so that's me. Hey, girl. You can follow me on Danny Time Events on all platforms, but that's who I am.
Awesome. All right. And together we do Inhale, Exhale. And the reason that we call this that is because, you know, when you think about the foundations of life, the foundation of all things in medicine, both physical and mental, it's the breath, right? And so when you inhale and exhale, it's something we do all the time, something that we do without even thinking about it, and yet it is so fundamental. And so we want to bring you fundamental education because we feel like that's the foundation of health and wellness, right? Is having that knowledge and that education. So that's what we do here on this show. And there's so many other inhale, exhale euphemisms that we use. But stick with us and you'll learn all about those.
Yes.
Yes. So tonight we are on What's in It for the Black People Media, as I mentioned. Check us out every Sunday at 5 p.m. But we are tonight going to talk about Vagina Chronicles.
Yes.
Yes.
BJ.
I am so excited, you guys, because I know football is still on and all that stuff, so your man is not around, and so we can actually talk. Girl talk, right? And when I was thinking about what do we call this, I thought Vagina Chronicles because so many changes, right? It's like a book. Your vagina's like a book. It's like got chapters, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's so many different chapters as you go along in life that that you experience. And so we want to bring our friend, Dr. Adrienne Dade, in with us tonight, and she's going to join us in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And when she joins us, she is going to be that open book. She'll answer questions. So whatever you guys have that you want to ask, and you know Danni is always full of questions.
Yes, I'm going to hold y'all down, but please feel free to drop the questions. Yes. If not, we're going to keep this ball rolling and try to get as much information as we can that we think you might need. But go ahead and drop your questions in the comments.
And so then a couple other housekeeping things that I have to learn how to remember doing, right? Mm-hmm. Share this broadcast. Share. Invite a friend. Tell your friend to invite a friend. Mm-hmm. Tell their friend to invite a friend, because we want everybody to get this knowledge. We want this out here. We want everybody to feel comfortable in this space. And so the only way we get it out is if you share, right?
Right.
Okay, so share it, like the page. Join and become part of Inhale, Exhale. We'll show you how to do that as well. And let me just drop some real quick. We had a Journey to Wellness challenge last week.
Yes.
How'd that go? My cousin and I were the only ones who posted.
Yeah.
What's that about, family?
Y'all was supposed to join in. Maybe we should give them another chance.
I really want to give y'all this money.
Yeah, let's give them another chance.
It's a real, for like $25 gift card. For real. I was giving y'all for real. And this book is amazing.
Why don't you explain the challenge to our new watchers?
Okay, I'm going to give y'all another chance, okay? So what we wanted to, maybe it was too tough. Was it too tough? I don't think so.
I don't think it was tough. Maybe we just need to just give them another chance and set a reminder. You know, you got to remind people. It's a lot going on.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll explain the challenge again. We'll give you another week.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Tanika, you juiced last week.
Okay.
You did not post a single picture
You're supposed to post to the page.
Okay.
That's okay.
So that's how you join the challenge. You got to post. Okay.
We're going to give her another chance.
Okay.
This is a no judgment zone. We're going to let her get another shot.
All right. So here's the challenge, guys. It's called the Journey to Wellness Challenge. And so what it is it's as we're embracing on this journey to wellness, we're just learning different techniques that we can use, okay? So one thing we can do is we can talk positive to ourselves and speak life over our every day, right? And so sometimes we do that with affirmations. So you can post an affirmation. That'll get you a point.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Steal it off of Pinterest, okay? That's an easy one. But it's more meaningful if you make it up. The second way you can get points is if you post something like your juice, your smoothie, something healthy that you're eating, your lunch. Please don't post your, I'm not going to name anybody because I don't want to name, I don't want to throw anybody out there. But please don't post something that would block your arteries. We want to see you eating something healthy, okay? So if that's the main dish, post the side dish. Okay.
And I will say we will post this again. I think we should just post it with all of the rules because it's probably a lot at this moment, and we see a lot of let's get to these vaginas.
Okay. Is Dr. Dade on? Listen.
So we're going to post the challenge. We're going to post the rules. And if you want to participate, you have to post and do your part.
That's
we will announce the winner on the next one. That sound good?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Shameless plug, though. Eating healthy is good for your vagina.
It is good for the VJ. Yes.
I bet you Dr. Dade will
the
tell you that.
The taste and the smell.
Is she on? Let's get Dr. Dade on then. So you guys, this is new for us. This is again inauguration day, and we got a new member of our Inhale Exhale crew. We so excited. We got DJ.
Hey DJ.
Go DJ. Jinx all night. That's my DJ. Yes, we are so excited. We have DJ with us, and so he's going to be holding us down and doing all the stuff that I used to do poorly.
And while we're waiting, I just want to shout out to everybody that's joining in. Hey guys, hey, bear with us. It's a whole new thing. Your girl trying to get in tune with the whole. Oh, hey girl.
Oh my gosh! Look at this beautiful sister joining us tonight, Sister Doc.
Yes.
You guys are so beautiful. You're just making me smile just listening to you guys. It's having so much fun. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. Look, we finally get free. We get to actually be who we really are instead of trying to.
Oh man, I know, right? We've been trying to work it out.
Yes, this is awesome.
New levels.
Oh my goodness, you are the most coveted guest tonight.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so beautiful. I'm just excited to be joining you all tonight. I mean, I can talk about vaginas all the time, so it's not me at all. So it's what I do.
So good. Well, I know there are tons of questions out here, but I wanted to get started by letting you just introduce who you are. Yeah,
Of course. Well, I can definitely do that. So as you mentioned, I'm Dr. Adrienne Dade. I am a native Chicagoan, so I am a hometown girl from the South Side. And so I have always, like my mom said, since I was 9, I've wanted to be a doctor. Since I was 16, I've actually wanted to be an OBGYN. So this was like a lifelong, what I call a calling. And I honestly think that it was something that I wanted to do because I felt like my people, we on What's in It for the Black people, right?
That's
so
true.
My people, I always felt like there were not any doctors, physicians that were taking care of the folks that I know and loved and looked like me and, lived in my neighborhood. So that was something that I always felt that was God's calling for me to come. And that was my way of giving back to the world. So, it's a career that I've loved to have. I felt like I've been able to help a lot of women. I want to help a lot of women, so it's just been something I've been enjoying. I'm currently at the University of Chicago Hospital is where I practice, but I've practiced at Mercy Hospital. I used to practice at Gary, so I've always been in neighborhoods where my people are. So
That's right. And we need that because, our patients want to see doctors that look like them. They trust them more. And there actually was a study not too long ago that showed that babies that were born I don't want to butcher it, but I know that it was showing some discrepancy, some morbidity, higher morbidity in babies that were born that were not delivered by Black physicians. And so it's so important to have Black OB-GYNs.
Yes.
That's just a given.
And speaking to that point, one of our viewers, I was promoting the topic for tonight, and she saw you on the flyer, and she's like, "Oh my God, Dr. Dave, she delivered my baby. I have to tune in." So she said that she was with you at Mercy, and so she was sad when you left, but she's so excited. She's actually in tonight, but so excited to be with us. So that was pretty cool to see that.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I love that. I just want to make just a slight correction to Dr. Audrey.
No, that's what I'm saying. That my area is internal medicine, so please
I know.
that.
I definitely don't stay in the internal medicine world. But so we found out in studies that actually Black women, in terms of morbidity and mortality after having babies, is higher regardless of socioeconomic status, right? So you think, maybe people who are poor, who have less access to care, those are maybe the Black folks who may not have the best, care. But it's actually didn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you make, and Audrey, we talked about this when we had our pre-call, that a lot of times, it's really sad as an OBGYN, and I'm sure you as a physician also, I hear a lot of women say, "You know what, doc, people don't listen to me. You're the first doctor who's listened to my complaints, who's actually addressed my complaints." And it's sad, but it's true. I feel like, there's just that extra that, I think we as Black physicians can give. Studies prove that as well, that Absolutely. Black patients do better with Black physicians. And it's a study. There's nothing you can argue about that,
Absolutely. So it's the data, right?
Mm-hmm. You were just talking about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is so true. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because I think that's extremely important. And that's something we saw too, right? When look at Serena Williams, right? Who after she had her baby and had the was it a PE? I think she had.
Yep. Yeah, the PE.
Mm-hmm. So you were so spot on. So these gals want to get to the vagina talk.
Let's get to it.
And the man, there was a gentleman that said he appreciates a good, nice vagina. So we welcome men too. We welcome your questions.
Absolutely.
And I was just having a conversation with a friend. Men are not slow ladies. They know a lot. They know a lot about us.
And you know what? I'm going to actually just say, okay, quick point here. That is so important because the men that are in our lives make a huge difference in our health as well too. I actually had a patient whose husband was the one who identified the lump in her breast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love when men get involved. We too often say, "Oh, the woman is the one that's is in charge of the healthcare." But I think it's a holistic approach. The whole family is a part of it. So absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna be quiet because I know they have questions for you.
Let's hear.
Okay, well, I'll start with some questions that I got prior. So speaking of the men, I was talking to a girlfriend and she expressed, and I just want to say I'm very appreciative for this topic and conversation because so many people feel ashamed or nervous or, scared to talk about this. But there's a lot of information even as adults that some of us might not know. Either your mom didn't talk to you about it or they didn't have the right information, so on and so forth. So she had her first yeast infection at 30 plus years old, and she did not know what it was. So she's like going off on her boyfriend. Like, you did something to me and I'm feeling this kind of way. And he told her, you have a yeast infection. And so she's just thinking like, oh, he's just making this up. But true, going to the doctor, she finds out that she had a yeast infection. And so this was the first time in her life that she had it. So I kind of talked to her about it, but from a professional, in that expert in that area, to talk more about what it looks like. It differs for different women, which I explained to her because her new question was, is it something that I'm always going to get? Is this going to, happen more often? What do I need to eat? What do I need to do? And so I just kind of wanted to talk around the yeast infection a little bit, how it presents itself and how to treat it and what to expect from it. Yeah, but her boyfriend is the one who told her what it was.
and maybe just even throw just kind of vaginal discharge, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of as a...
Because it was the discharge that was the sign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I think that is probably, I don't know, a lot of the complaints that when women present to the doc outside of their, or to me outside of their sort of just annual visit, I think vaginal discharge is probably the number one complaint.
Yeah.
And so For me as a physician, it's always important to ask about timing of the discharge. It's all very important to ask honestly things like color. Is there an odor? Is there an itch? So those things kind of like alert me to really actually focus sort of the differential diagnosis of what could be potentially causing this vaginal discharge. So I think just to kind of answer your question about yeast, so yeast is basically, an overgrowth of yeast, which is, something that we actually have in our vagina at a certain amount. What happens is your pH is thrown off, right? So it's very important to vaginal pH. I know women hear that a lot. So when that is off, then that's when things like yeast and things like bacterial vaginosis can develop. And so I always tell women that, you can have some form of vaginal quote unquote discharge. We have what we call physiological discharge, meaning it's normal. There's not an infection, right? And that can change throughout the month. So it changes if you're before ovulation. It might be changed, different while you're ovulating. It will be different after you ovulate. So that can change and be different throughout the month. Things that need to be treated and things that make you think maybe this is a yeast infection, maybe it's bacterial vaginosis, maybe it's an STD, are things that are associated with itching, consistent, persistent itching, right? Nothing that kind of like, oh, I had an itch, a month ago. A month ago, if it's not there present now, it probably was, maybe it was your pH thrown off for a second and your body had a chance to rebalance it. But anything that's persistent. A yeast infection also women will have a more of a thick discharge, white cottage cheese type of discharge. We use those terminologies not to really equate it to food, but those are ways that you can describe it. A thick white cottage cheese type of discharge that causes itching. When you're thinking about things with odor, that's when you start to think about things like bacterial vaginosis or maybe STDs, gonorrhea, chlamydia, trichomonas. But again, individually, it's always important to talk to your physician about, various complaints, because sometimes everybody does, like you mentioned, presents a little differently. Right. And so obviously there's testing that we can do. I know that there are some over-the-counter things that people buy now that can kind of test, and what they're testing for really is like the pH, and you may be able to self-treat for things over the counter, and that's fine. However, if those types of, medications do not work, within a week's given time, then you definitely need to see your physician for management and treatment.
Yeah. So these comments are blowing up. So I'm just going to say yes. So ST what? She said STD as in dog, which is sexually transmitted disease. And then as she mentioned, those are things like chlamydia, gonorrhea, trichomonas. Syphilis can be a sexually transmitted disease, as well as HIV is a sexually transmitted disease. And those are things.
FC.
Yeah, no, we could probably keep naming HPV, which is one we really don't talk about a whole lot.
We need a separate time for that one.
I know, right?
There's a lot of questions surrounding that. I get, and I like I said, I go back to, again, this is so good because those girlfriend conversations, when you're sitting with your girls and they don't know. And for me, I always feel like regardless of what's going on, I want my physician's opinion opposed to like, oh, I think it's this. Let me just go run to the doctor because I want to make sure we're treating the right thing if that's the thing.
Absolutely.
But
because they can build resistance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there are some women who may have issues with recurrent bacterial vaginosis or recurrent yeast. And sometimes there's some underlying medical conditions that can cause that as well. Like we know,
Audrey,
diabetes, women can have undiagnosed diabetes. So if I have a patient who's coming in and they're having this persistent recurrent yeast infections, we treated it. We talked about other sort of behavioral modifications. Sometimes I suggest that they have a test for diabetes.
And I think that's so important. Oh, I'm sorry. I recently learned pregnancy too. That yeast can show up a lot more in pregnancy. I am 9 months pregnant from a new viewer, so we in the any day stage. But I just found that out. Thank God I haven't been attacked by them. But I found that out that also reoccurs often in pregnancy. So there's a lot of different variables to it.
Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
So just speaking about that consistency, because that was another one that was in the chat about, did she say cottage cheese? Yes, she did. She did say cottage cheese. And that's actually something that clinically we use that can sometimes help us, not all the time, right, but can sometimes help us to lean towards one of those diagnoses versus the other. So that, like Dr. Day was mentioning, the smell and the consistency of it, if it's thin or if it's thick, like cottage cheese. So
right,
so
and we don't
absolutely.
usually just take an isolated one symptom, right? You have to put them together.
Right.
So that's important what you're mentioning.
Can you mention a little bit more about pH? That's something I hear a lot, right? Where people are like, my pH is off, you know, and you had mentioned, you know, that it can be off during your, you know, different cycles of the month that are surrounding your ovulation cycles and those kind of things. Are there other things that you typically counsel people about with pH?
Yes, I do. So so one thing that I think, and you guys, you know, talked a lot about health last week and what you eat. I always stress the importance, especially again in women who are having these frequent recurrences of issues with vaginitis, is what we call the general term of having yeast or bacterial vaginosis. Water intake is so important. It balances your pH, right? You know, it flushes all those things that, you know, we eat. If we're, you know, some women have to kind of figure out, and it's hard, it's not easy. Some women have to figure out what things throw their pH off. You know, sometimes it's fried food. Sometimes it's, you know, more, I know a lot of women are drinking alkaline water. Sometimes those things really do alter your pH. Everybody's a little different. But I do know that water definitely balances all things. I think we all learn it in all of our health discussions. Fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables are very important. So eating basically a well-balanced diet, I think, helps control your pH. Preventing using things like dishing. Do not. I'm always like, women, please leave it alone. It is a self-cleansing organ.
Thank you.
Honestly, it self-cleanses itself, right? The only time that it's not able to do that is when you introduce things that throw off the pH, right? So if you're dishing, you're basically upsetting the natural balance of the bacteria that's in your vagina, right? So you're washing away what we call the lactobacilli, which are the good bacteria that keep that pH at a certain level. So when those are destroyed, that's when your pH goes away, and that's when you're at risk for having yeast or bacterial vaginosis. So definitely like stay away from that. I always tell women, do not put powders, sprays, perfumes, all those fun smelling soaps, you know, those things can throw your pH off. Bubble baths, I'm not a bath girl, so, you know, I don't really understand the bath thing. I'm a shower girl, but I know that there are women who are bath girls, but that bath cannot be filled with all those, you know, wonderful bath bombs that have all this different perfume and things like that. And I will say that some women, maybe they can, you know, use it and there's no, you know, change in their pH. But for some women who are very sensitive, it will change the pH. So you have to be very, very cautious of that.
Absolutely.
You know, underwear, you know, I know there's some fun underwear out there, but, you know, sometimes the silk thong is just going to mess you up. Okay. So you have to be ready to know that's what's going to happen.
That thing has to breathe. Inhale, exhale.
Exactly.
Maybe try to cotton.
You actually mentioned lactobacillus, and one of the questions I saw go by actually was talking about probiotics. Your thoughts on if people should take probiotics or not?
That's a great question. Probiotics. So in terms of the different types of probiotics, I always tell women that probiotics can be used. I mean, it cannot be used in isolation of everything else. You have to really take care of it the way we've just talked about in terms of behavioral modifications. But in some women, again, who have these recurrent bouts of pH imbalance, you can use those probiotics. I do say make sure that the probiotics are for female genitalia, because there are probiotics for the guts. And so if you buy the wrong ones, of course, it won't be helpful. There's also only one yogurt currently on the market that has the probiotics that you would need for vaginal health, and that's Activia. So if you like yogurt, you can eat that. Probably have to eat it every day. It's not just a, one-time pill and you take it. Even with the probiotic pills, it's more of a ongoing sort of like maintenance thing that you have to do, just like you would take a multivitamin every day. So probiotics, we do know there are some small studies that show that they may be helpful in some women.
Yeah. I kind of want to stick on the maintenance topic a little bit because now there's a new wave of the vaginal steams and the pearls and all the insertions and things like that. And even with like tampons versus pads, and someone asked about menstrual cups, are those safe? So just kind of talking about health in that regards, like the maintenance of the vagina, and are these things safe to use?
Yeah.
Because it's high in market right now, the V-steaming and pearls and et cetera.
Especially hearing that you said this is an organ that can cleanse itself.
Right, it's self-cleansing. And I tell people that a lot, and I'm like, if you feel like you need to do all of this extra stuff, you might want to go have a doctor's visit. But I think it's important to talk about because it's the thing.
Right. It is definitely like the thing. And so I'll just tell you, again, I can only say what you guys just said. It is a self-cleansing organ. It does not need to be steamed. I know that some people have done that and maybe enjoy it and feel refreshed. And again, this is what I say. If it's, not going to cause you harm, okay, fine. If it's not throwing up your pH, fine. But I've definitely had patients who've come to me with burns, and have had more problems after having those steams. So you just have to be careful, right? You have to be super careful about it. In terms of like menstrual cups, I think that they're fine. I think you have to just, of course, be careful in terms of cleansing it, in terms of changing it in a timely fashion, usually every 4 hours. Same thing with tampons, every 4 hours. You want to make sure that you're using the most non-scented tampons. You don't need a lot of scents on tampons. So I think that those put you at more risk for throwing off the pH. But they're fine to use as long as you're changing them at a frequent time.
Yeah. I think that's super helpful. So we're actually coming up against a break. So this is a new thing, y'all. We got breaks.
We got commercials and stuff.
Right? I know, right? And so, Dr. Day, we are having such a good time talking with you. So when we come back on the other side of this break, I think I want to start picking your brain about some of these perimenopause, menopause type of topics.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And get a little bit into the eating and how that helps the odor. Because there are some women that feel like I'm doing everything. I'm up with my doctor's appointments and doing all those good things, but I still have this odor, and I want to talk about how food plays a part in that.
Absolutely. Too. Absolutely. So we will come back on the other side of this break. You guys stick with us and share over the break so that you can bring a friend, bring a sister girl in so they can get this good knowledge. All right. We'll see you guys on the other side.
If you could make up a social media holiday, what would it be?
Randy said National Don't Let No One Put You Down Day.
No one. What you gonna do? So when they say something crazy, you slap them?
Be like me, said. Randy said a Jukathon Day.
Man, we're about 60 years old. I be done had a heart.
You gotta get your heart rate up.
Okay, not that far.
Yeah. All right, Mario said my favorite one. My friends and I do what we call National Call Off from Work Day.
As a business owner, I don't.
You don't like that, yeah.
I don't like that.
Because I'm the boss of this thing.
We got Marcus Garvey Day from Remy too.
Marcus Garvey Day. All right, what will we do on Marcus Garvey Day?
Call off from work.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. That would be great. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Every black holiday has something to do with calling off from work.
You're cool. I'm out.
About National Join a Positive Black Organization Day, because I don't want to be recruited. I don't want to be recruited and the brothers be like, thank you. Thank you. How about National Tell White People the Truth Day? Tell them how you really feel.
You can't handle the truth.
Why don't we call that National Black People Get Locked Up Day?
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
Yeah. Ooh. I miss your kiss. Oh, your kiss is one of a kind. It feels so nice. Girl, you do it right. I miss. Ooh. Oh, girl, you don't go too fast. You take your
Hey everybody, what's up? What's in it for the black people? This is What's in it for the Black People Media. I am Dr. Tanksley, better known as Dr. T, and this is my beautiful, beautiful side and co-host.
Danni time on your line.
Yes, and we are coming today, you guys, with the most beautiful and wonderful Dr. Adrienne Dade, who is an OB-GYN, which is an obstetrics and gynecology physician at the University of Chicago. And she has been talking with us today about all things vagina. Yes, telling us all about how to keep that thing healthy, how to make sure that you know when there is something going on with it, how to include your husband, your spouse, your male in making sure that it stays healthy and all those things. So this is a good time to come back on this side of the break. And again, this is the Inhale Exhale show. So welcome to this show, and welcome back, Dr. Dade.
Welcome.
Thank you. Dr. T, you never shared that we are also sorority sisters. So
I know. I didn't know if I should or if they was just going to pick up the hints. If they were going to pick up the hint that we are part of the most esteemed Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and that's why we are both wearing our beautiful blue and gold this evening.
And you ladies look beautiful.
I need that shirt, sis.
I found it from this black boutique, so down on 12th Street. So, hey.
I'm going to need that for Centennial. You guys, we have a Centennial coming up, so, you know, I got to get fabulous, so y'all going to see, a lot of this. So, yes, we are. I actually invited a lot of the sorors to come on tonight, so we're going to have to make sure that they see this.
That's right. I just want to quickly, before I forget, say hello to Maze Jackson. You know, we went to college together, so
cool.
That's my guy. And I listen to him every morning, so I'm excited to be on the show.
Yes, you guys, and this is, and we thank you for being part of our inaugural event. You know, this is a big deal. That's why we're fabulous, you guys. Like, we're like,
office.
Right, we got our royalty going. So so we thank you so much, because in all honesty, we are so excited to be part of What's in it for the Black People media family. There are some amazing shows on this network, guys. So I would encourage everybody, you know, let go of that regular media and come on over to your media and hear what you need to hear for your development and your health and your people and your advancement. So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to uplift and educate, right?
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
Okay. So that was our moment. So getting back into the show and bringing y'all back to what we were talking about. So we were actually on the other side of the break talking about health and maintenance of the vagina. And so I said on this side we were going to talk into another chapter of the vaginal journey. Excuse me. And that chapter, I saw a question in there, and I think I'm getting to this age, so I was interested in it. That chapter is called Perimenopause, and right, leading on into that next chapter. And one of the questions in the chat, which was a really good question from Adrienne, thank you for this question, sis, was she said, you know, I'm getting into that perimenopause age and ain't nobody trying to have no babies. So how do you work that out, and what does that look like, you know?
Yeah, you know, I have to agree. I'm with you, Adrienne, coming from another Adrienne, in terms of perimenopause. So let's kind of define it a little bit. So perimenopause usually occurs between the ages of 45 to 55, right? So that means that during that time, most women will go through menopause. But the actual definition of menopause is not until you're 1 year without menstrual bleeding. So anytime around that is going to be sort of, or before that is going to be perimenopause, right? So you're going to be kind of before. And so what happens is that, and I know a lot of women have noticed that their menstrual cycles change, right? Whether that's they have more PMS, they have, you know, more bleeding, maybe they have less bleeding, maybe their cycles have shortened. You know, they used to be a 28, day girl. Now their menstrual cycles are coming every 21 days. Maybe they were 21 days and now the menstrual cycles are coming every 32 days. So as long as you're still having pretty consistent menstrual cycles, you can get pregnant. I mean, you're honestly,
that's why Mama Raina is my friend.
Right. I mean, your fertility rate dramatically drops after 35, right? But it's not zero. It's not zero until your menopause. Okay, so that 1 year without menopause. So I always tell women, you want to still be mindful of some form of birth control. I mean, granted, a lot of women, like you just mentioned, will have an IUD, which is great. Some women may have had their tubal ligation or their tubes tied, which is fine. But you do have to be aware of, I'm sure everybody's kind of heard of a grandma story or great aunt story. I had a menopausal baby, a premenopausal baby. I thought I was in menopause, but I had a baby. I've heard that story a number of times. So
my sister's in the chat, like her best friend just had a baby, and he is the most beautiful little prince I've seen, but she was 43, and she was just saying that's exactly what happened to her friend.
And I have to say that, when I first started this journey and becoming an OBGYN in my early days of residency, back then it was a lot of teenage pregnancy. There were a lot of, young girls who were 15, 19, 20. That is totally different now. I mean, if you look at our labor and delivery board, people are 42, 43, 39. I mean, part of it is definitely, I think women are just waiting to have babies, for career reasons and things like that. Yeah. But definitely you can get pregnant. So it doesn't just go away.
So should you stay on birth control is that basically the bottom line? Stay on your birth
control?
So
yeah, I think if you're not trying to get pregnant, you should definitely stay on some form of birth control. Now, I know that some women, for whatever individual reasons, may not do well on hormonal birth control, but you definitely, using condoms still works if you use it appropriately. Condoms, abstinence, obviously. Sometimes women will use timed intercourse, but you have to have a really regular period, which again is the problem with the perimenopausal time, is that your periods may not come regularly as they used to. So you could put yourself at more risk for, having an unintended pregnancy.
Okay. I have a question about that. Speaking of pregnancy after 35 and the fertility decreasing. So I just recently turned 35 a couple of days ago, and my doctor had already started treating me for a geriatric pregnancy. And I was so offended because I'm like, why do you need to see me so much? Like, what is this about? And can you kind of explain a little bit more about what happens after 35 and pregnant? Because I go to the doctor quite often, and reason only being is my age, and everything else. Everything else is within normal limits. We looking good, but you want to see me all the time. What's up with that?
So the frequency of your appointments and based on your age are really due to studies, right? So if there are some studies that were done, if you just looked at age over 35 alone, those women will be at higher risk for things like medical conditions that can occur in pregnancy, preeclampsia, high blood pressure, diabetes, so those things, as we get older, pregnancy is like the ultimate stress on the body, right? Okay. So it can reveal those things that, you may be at risk for, or because of your older age, it's just that extra stress on your body. So, again, lots of women have pregnancies out of 35. So I know it is kind of offensive to be like, man, I'm an old mom. But, that is more of a health, concern. That we based on studies. And some women do fine, right? I'm sure women who like, man, she had a baby at 39, she went and had that baby, did fine, no problems. Of course, but when you take the totality of the number of women, it's just a higher, risk.
I guess I can lighten up on him because I'll be tired.
Yeah, yeah, it does get, definitely does get tiring. But it is important. It is important. Absolutely. So that's a really good one. Okay. So I hope that answered you guys. I hope that answers your questions. Basically, you need to make sure you continue to use some birth control, because otherwise you may have one of those. Why do they call it geriatric? Is it still that, or is it advanced maternal age?
I mean, it is advanced maternal age. So, I mean, okay. That's what we usually, that's the,
that's nicer.
ICD nicer. However,
he told me geriatric.
I know, that's nicer. It sounds better if I'm just advanced,
I would never call you geriatric if you're my patient, but.
That is a mess. But, speaking, so vaginal health definitely, or it changes when you're pregnant, it changes when you're in perimenopause. And another place that I definitely don't want to leave these ladies out are when you actually do get to menopause, right? So you mentioned, and I'm glad that you defined this. I want to go back and just make sure that we say that definition, as Dr. Day just told us, is when you have not had a period for, you said, for 12 months, correct, Dr. Day?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if you get one after 9 months, start over. Okay, you're not in menopause yet. So once you've had 12 full months, no period, you are technically menopause. And then it's a whole nother chronicle that occurs with this thing. It's vagina, right?
Right. So, there are definite changes, right? So I think the most common changes, and I'll just kind of talk about menopause, and some of the most common changes are, and what you hear, probably 70% of women will complain about hot flashes, right? So hot flashes, night sweats are probably the number one complaint with menopause. Now, there's some of us who, are lucky and God blessed, and they'll go, I have not had anything. And I say, well, count yourself lucky. So you still are, menopause if you've not had a period. But most women will have some form of hot flashes and night sweats. And they're mostly going to be at its worst, the first 5 years after menopause. But what I always tell women is that you can have hot flashes even after that. So they may not be something that ever go away, but they should be lessened. You could be 70 and been in menopause for 20, for 15 years, but you may every now and then have a hot flash or a night sweat. The second, probably most common, has to do with the vagina, and that will be what we call vaginal atrophy. And what most people kind of, know clinically, or patients will say, is that I have a dry vagina. So yes. So because that you have that lack of estrogen, which is what our ovaries produce, right? So when we go into menopause, we're not ovulating anymore. We've used up all of our eggs. We had all our eggs when we were born, and they all sort of over time ovulated or either died off as time goes, and eventually we just have no more eggs to give. And then that signals our bodies to stop producing that estrogen, right? And so when we don't have the estrogen, the cells in our vagina, which have lived off that estrogen for all those years and have been very plump and, very moist, now do not have the estrogen. So they lack that. And now that, is vaginal dryness, right? So women may have issues or concerns with intercourse. It may be painful. It kind of feels like friction. So a lot of times there's nothing you can do to sort of make your own natural estrogen come back, because once it's depleted, it's gone. But things that we do offer patients, things like vaginal lubricants are sometimes satisfying for enough women. Of course, there's vaginal estrogen that some women can take. I say some because there are some women who may have medical conditions that prevent them from taking vaginal estrogen. And then there are also some women who will take hormone replacement, meaning they can take some small form of estrogen and progesterone by mouth, and it sort of helps those things that you are afflicted with in menopause, like vaginal dryness and hot flashes. So there are things that you can talk to your physician about, your OBGYN, that can help manage these symptoms. So I think it's one of the things is that women sometimes have to sort of be that way or live like this. Oh, this is just a normal part of life. Oh, well, it's over. My sex life is over. I'm in menopause now, so forget it. And it doesn't have to be like that. So I think an individual discussion with your OBGYN will allow you to explore things that will be safe for you to use on an individual basis.
I think that's so important that you said that, because I do think that that's something so many people think is that, okay, things are now, are just now over, and having that discussion. And that's why we do this, right? So that, at least some information so that you can have those discussions, or even just, begin to open the door and say, hey, I heard there might be some things I can do to help with this dryness. And from a medical, like a internal medicine standpoint, that really does. We see a lot of women when they become when they are menopausal, that have a lot of increase in their urinary tract infections, and they can get, from the dryness, they can have infections as well too. And so that's something that is really important to know, that there are things they can do to help with it. I just got to throw this out here because I want to hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have a good answer for it. I've got a couple patients, one who uses coconut oil, another uses honey. I thought the coconut oil. I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of get that. But I couldn't get the honey. I didn't know. Have you ever heard that one, or
As lubricant?
as a like a lubricant cleanser kind of thing?
I mean, how much honey they using? I mean,
I'm gonna have to ask.
the
Is
first
it
I've
like
heard
a
of that.
teaspoon or a cup? I don't know.
How are you measuring this?
I'm definitely coconut oil, avocado oil, vitamin E oil. Those things are pretty bland and usually don't cause too much issue. But yeah, honey, I'm not sure. We may have to find that patient.
You know what? I'm gonna ask next time. I promise I'm gonna ask. Like, tell me more about this honey thing. Yeah,
let's explore this.
Absolutely.
I have a question about the birth control. I know that was a solution for not wanting pregnancy, but like there are a lot of concerns surrounding birth control, hormonal and the IUDs, as far as something being inserted. I've heard conversations about that. Like, can we talk about the safeties and the risk of birth control? I know for myself, I had stopped taking birth control for a while just because I was fearful of the risk. That you always hear those commercials, if you have side effects of this, and that, and da-da-da-da-da, or you're going to get this. So it's like it kind of scared me. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about birth control and how safe it is.
I mean, birth control, obviously there are different types of birth control, and I think it has to be an individual decision. Again, I'm always going to promote you individually speaking to your physician, because obviously I don't know everybody who's listening what their medical background. Mm-hmm. But if you think about the number of people who are on both birth control, it's really safe, right? It's really safe. However, there are different forms of birth control for everybody. So you have what we call combination birth control, which includes a combination of hormones that you make yourself, so estrogen and progesterone. However, we do know that there's some women, if you give them extra progesterone, they may be at risk for blood clots. That's one major thing. Women who have hypertension probably shouldn't be, uncontrolled hypertension, I should say, shouldn't be on an estrogen-containing birth control. Women who have migraines with aura, or if they see like lights or things like that, there are certain things that they shouldn't be on, the estrogen-containing contraception. But we have alternatives for those women, right? So we have progesterone-only contraception for those women. We have the IUDs, right, that don't have estrogen, or are non-hormonal. So I think that it has to be sort of an individual basis, and everything has risk. I think all medications, anything that you use can have risk, but I can tell you I've seen more good than bad. I think that in terms of, if you talk about things like an IUD, I think that definitely anytime you Google anything, you're going to see the worst. You're not going to see all the people who like, it's cool. I love it. I see all that.
I need to be that poster child.
Google is going to tell you are dying.
It's going to tell you better not get this or you're going to die. And that's not true for most people. So, I think, you have to just sort of like, the thing I always tell women when they come to see me, I said, the best thing about birth control is that it's reversible. Everything except for tubal ligation, right? All of the other ones are mostly reversible. So if you have a safety profile that you fit in terms of your medical background and it looks very safe, you can always try it. And if it's not working for you, then you definitely can do something different. Of course, you're going to have a friend who says, oh, that didn't work for me, or, that was awful. And that's with anything. Anything in medications or life. Some people do better with certain things. And so, if you have to sort of say baby or, birth control, which ones go,
which risk versus benefit, right.
Risk and benefits, like I tell patients, if you're good at using condoms and you don't feel like you'll have a slip up, use condoms. If they work well, as long as you can be consistent with it. But that's
absolutely. That's a, so you know what? We are,
maybe not the right one. I don't want to break the mood,
I know.
Okay.
We could talk about this all day.
I just wanted to get into just the food, just really quick. I know we only have a couple minutes
we got
left.
because we are literally coming up on our time, but that's okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna, but I want to hear that too, because I am
integrative. What are some good
so I'm gonna let
foods
you at least just throw out a couple of the health tips that you give your patients about foods that they can eat that helps to keep their body. They're specifically if it's anything you tell them about their vagina, but keep their pH in check. Exactly.
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier. So definitely water. At least half your body weight in water, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you can do 100 ounces of water, that's great. I try to do 100 ounces a day. And so I think water is always going to be your friend. I think things like some of the more specific things you might read on, we talked about yogurt, the Activia. We talk about cranberries, sweet potatoes, and omega-3. So good fatty fish. So salmon, things like that. Those are some of the things that generally,
So it goes back to what we were talking before, that Mediterranean style diet, that really heart healthy eating is healthy overall, right? Absolutely. So we are going to have my sister back because there's so many questions. There was some good stuff about fibroids popping up, and I know that's a whole conversation in itself. So on the back end, you guys, we're going to have Dr. Day come join us another time. We thank you, sis, so much.
Thank you so much.
We thank you, everybody, for joining us in our inaugural event. We appreciate you. You guys, inhale some education this week and exhale your power in this in your health, okay? So we will talk to you on the other side. Join the Inhale Exhale page, like the What's in It for the Black People media, and subscribe to this page, and you can catch us here every Sunday at 5 p.m. You can catch myself, Dr. T, and Danni time with our DJ in the back, and we'll see you on the next Sunday. Have a great week, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Dr. Day.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful, guys.